Hi, Tuccis. It's D Money.
And Rory.
Two good Tuccis ready to talk iconic friendships of television and film. This week we are discussing and dissecting Alana and Abby of Broad City.
Absolutely. All up into this. And just that casual, friendly reminder, a good Tucci is that BFF who has got your back and is there for you no matter what. Similar to our good pal Stanley Tucci in pretty much every movie he's in, right? And Stanley, if you are listening, let's grab a slice, maybe a cappuccino, take a walk to the park, and you can tell me about your favorite Tucciship. Your best Tucciship of all time. Sounds
The
like,
the Tucciest of
ooh.
the Tucci ships.
Getting the best Tucciship from the ultimate Tucci himself? Like,
From the source.
from the source? Come on.
That's like tapping into a maple tree and just getting that syrup.
Ooh, sticky sweet goodness. And that is what I think of when I no, okay, we're gonna stop right there.
Yeah, Broad City ladies. How
Broad
those
City.
Abby and Alana.
Yes. So those unfamiliar, this is a deep and interesting Tucci ship because this whole show is based on the IRL Tucci ship of Abby and Ilana. Abbi Jacobson, Ilana Glazer, great comedians, lovely gals. I love them dearly. I watch so much of their things. But this show kind of just follows them through their life in New York City. Of course, kind of fictional, and she's comedic and she's fun.
Hmm.
But honey, is she wild? It's crazy. How familiar? So I know you are a little familiar, but refresh me on your Broad City knowledge, your spectrum. Obviously, we're here talking about it, but
Mhm.
what's the connection?
I remember watching I think I came in at like season 3, so I caught up, watched it, and then the next season came out and watched it. I don't remember how many seasons there are, but I remember the last season came out and I rewatched everything and then got to the last season and pulled a Schitt's Creek and just didn't pull the trigger on the last part.
Again.
So I haven't seen the finale in its entirety,
Okay.
but doing the research, you see things.
We find out, spoilers ahead, of course. I I've seen it all the way through, at least once, maybe twice, but it had been a minute, been a while. I knew I loved it. I love the gals. So it was good to just refresh and revisit. I didn't remember every detail, so
It did pull that thing where I talked about though, where like the things that have come out the past like 15, 20 years, it looks like somebody went back and edited them and it's different than what you remembered. And this is definitely the case. I know it's not as old to fall within that, but it's been off the air and the time that it did run, like there's some time from the beginning episode. And so it
oh
was a
yeah.
little bit different than I remember. And I was just like, huh.
I think it is also guilty too, especially in the early. They're finding the characters, they're finding the foot, they're getting everything started. It's also that weird bridge of scripted comedy and improv comedy, and it's based on a real life situational thing, and it's giving a lot. It's
Mm-hmm.
giving a lot. So it's based. So for one, it's based in New York City, but it is interesting that not only does a large city like New York have a lot of situational things to get into and a lot of external factors to impact things, but a lot of times in these situations, like in this case, the city itself is almost like a character to this
Mm.
story. You have to be friends with your environment and understand your environment to navigate all that. You're in a populated area. Do you feel like you have that? Do you need that?
You do. And I feel like when the city is the character, it makes for even better because it's not just like what you expect, it's like what the city throws at you. Like in Batman, I feel like Gotham City is very much a character as well.
Absolutely.
And so like when you watch Broad City, obviously the things that they write into the show or that just happen situationally, like what the women come up with, there's that scenario, but then that's placed within the city. And then sometimes you'll see it since it is in New York, they have famous people of different neighborhoods. So like there's like that plant person. So
Yep.
like they're having their own situation on the street, and then obviously the plant person was there for filming, but like they make the pant person like swoop in for a second and that becomes a moment. So it's like that was brought to you by the city.
I think in this case, it is so easy for them potentially to just keep it going. You have unlimited resources and ideas in a place like New York City, especially when you're doing what you're doing. You could just walk down the street and you're going to have dozens of people that you can interact with, most of which are probably okay signing a waiver and getting a little 15 seconds, of course. So props to them. Like, great idea. Of course, especially while it was on and airing, she was getting all of the notability and the recognition. She was high and grand, and for understandable reasons.
Mhm.
But it is interesting to view the situational comedy between the friends and then how the environment they're in is having to be planned around and impacting them in that way, and how that's like affecting. I'm okay, for one, I've never been to New York City. Hoorah, hoorah. I could go, not go, whatever. Fun. You've been. I don't know that I want to live in that place with so many variables and
Mhm.
factors.
I feel like it's a little dramatized, but it does show that they know that their environment and
Yeah.
that they just didn't put it in New York because it's trendy or because everything is either in New York or LA. And so
They're so in on the joke.
mhm, like,
Yeah.
even if this was put in, like, in San Francisco, like, down by Fisherman's Wharf, I haven't been there in a while, but they have, like, the Bushman, and it's a guy who sits on a upside down bucket, who got a couple branches on the way over there,
All
and
right.
he, like, hides behind them and looks like a bush for people not paying attention, and as they're walking by, like, he, like, shakes it or, like, jumps out at people, and everybody across the street is in on the joke because 'cause they're watching people, like, jump out of their shoes.
Absolutely.
And he has been there for years, and if not, like, some incarnation of him, like Batman again, there's always be a Batman. So, I guess there'll always be a Bushman, so it's like if I were doing it in San Francisco, I would put in Bushman just like they put in, like, the walking plant, so it's just knowing your environment, but, like, if you see, like, Bushman in the forefront, you're gonna think that there's a Bushman on every corner in San Francisco and that you need to be on your tiptoes. It's not like that so much.
That's very fair. And of course, they even just comedy alone is you base on dramatization and just
Oh, yeah,
really
you're gonna exaggerate it.
you have to just to make it fun. Um, but yeah, I think I tried to think a lot about like kind of while recapping of course you and I, anytime we are in the city together and we're getting to explore and we're getting to do things, the way we navigate things from these ladies is quite different.
Oh, yeah.
These are city born and raised women with certain mentalities that I just don't necessarily relate to, but I love, especially Miss Alana. This is a give zero, could not fathom a fuck to give if she tried.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I love that about her. And I sometimes carry that energy, but I'm also that person a lot of times where I would see that happen and just be like, what are we doing? What are
Uh-huh.
you doing? Like, it's a little much right now for me. It's a little
Well,
lot.
one of my questions about this entire friendship, and well, for every friendship, but this one is definitely a good spotlight, and I think it has to do with what you're talking about, is like we're comfortable with each other. Like we can talk about lots of different things, like
Sure.
we can do lots of different things, like some people are more comfortable like your friends, like, "Oh, I'm in my underwear. Oh, that's fine, whatever, we're friends. Oh, I'm naked. Oh, we're friends, that's fine, like, that's whatever. Oh, I'm taking a crap. Oh, that we're friends, that's fine, whatever." You know what I mean? Like, people are more comfortable with different things than
Yeah.
others. Not everybody's comfortable with the same things, but, like, just because you're on that level of being comfortable
Uh-huh.
doesn't mean you should actually engage in it, and I feel like Alana is, like, balls to the wall, like, nobody cares, but, like, she wilds out.
The thing with her specifically, she has no boundaries
Mhm,
until she does, and she will let you know.
mhm.
But she doesn't care on certain topics if you have boundaries.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
She's like, it's not a big deal, and I know it's not a big deal, so I'm just gonna let you know. I just
Mhm.
took a fat dump. If you ever sent me a text like that, and it wasn't for medical reasons,
Oh my god,
and
no.
even still, my response is, "Did you call a doctor? Like, what can I do for you here?" what's the poipus? I would like to know. I
It's just it's a lot, Robin.
I like the idea of being that close with my friends, and I think I am with the friends.
Well, like if the it like again, like if the medical situation occurred and I needed a second opinion.
But it is just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Mhm.
Very
Not just because it's a
distinct.
Tuesday and, like, you saw the Mother Teresa in it because you had some peanuts last night. No,
That
I don't
gave
want
me
that
a
in Jesus' name.
reaction. Please never. Oh my
No,
God, never. Not for me and mices. What was that little cadence? I don't like that. I just no. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
yeah, so I
And every time she does it, is every time. Every time she does it. I don't need to know, especially if you're having a bad day. A handful of times. That's not a
mhm.
visual I'm trying to have of my good Tucci. You know, I don't
It's just a little
I don't
yeah,
need that.
but, like, to each their own, that's their own relationship, that's their boundaries, that's
It attests
what they
to the
do.
friendship, though. It really do because I feel like Abby just knows to not even try to set that
Mhm.
about. She's like, it's useless.
It's been
I
this
know
way,
who
it's
she
not gonna change.
exact. I know who she is, and this is just. I even on day one. So it was funny. I was refreshing on just like how they met, of course. Like, where does the story of Abby and Alana begin? And so watching the clip, I forgot that they kind of have their dual sided story of how that moment happens, which is always a fun thing to just see like the different ways that these two different people remember a specific incident, especially when it is kind of a monumental quote unquote. Like this was the beginning of some kind of big thing for both of them, like a good relationship. So that was just a fun moment. But you still see immediately that's just Alana.
Mhm.
And we later find out they've just like the whole time they made each other feel cool, and that's cute. I've never felt so cool as when I'm with you, and like that's just I mean yeah you want that with your friend and with your Tucci, but like that's just what it was to start with. Hey, thanks for the bus pass. Thanks for stealing and like
Ma'am.
running. I'm sorry, ma'am. Oh, you're
Right.
welcome, ma'am. Ma'am.
Ma'am, oh. You should have left me at the turnstile.
That would have been more respectful.
Mhm.
Respectable, even. Yeah, I don't. Not with a ma'am.
Just not the ma'am. And then also too, the way they shot it was, like it almost reminded me of, like, 2 alternate realities.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Like, one, they didn't become friends, and then the other one, they do become friends, and it reminded me of us, like, I w
yeah.
I thought of, like, "Alright, what if it was just, like, me packing up my equipment and being like, 'Alright, well, thank you so much for the interview. Thank you so much.'"
We've kind of touched on it. That
And you're
happened a
just like,
lot.
"Alright, cool, thanks," and then, like, you just retweet it, like, a week later, like, you keep going like, none of this would have happened.
Where to think of what the amount of things that you and I have done because of that, to
Mhm,
think of what we would have or even could have been doing just had we not been in that like it is wild because
mhm.
we've just spent so much time working on things together that otherwise would have just never happened. And I love
It
that.
would have been different in
Good
some
for
way.
us.
Mhm.
I mean, I probably would have never got into podcasting. I would never probably be here today, maybe eventually, but that is a good thanks to you. But no, I love an alternate reality situation, and I will admit to getting lost in those sometimes of just the what ifs and like the whatever. But usually it's good things. It's like me looking at like, oh, what if I get this, or what if I in a couple years get to have this, and like we love those. We love those in two ways, Miss Abby and Miss Alana.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should, but love that for them.
At least here we do see, and this is another thing we've talked about a lot, that really is the stability of a Tucciship that in its own way can boil down to humor. It's not necessarily being on the same page, but at least being able to understand each other's humor. Because I don't think they are exactly the same type of sarcasm or they don't always have the same type of humor, but they will always appreciate and support each other's like moments and their jokes and their this and their that. And so like that's a good, it's just whether it's poop or a bad joke or a dad joke, like, you got your good Tucci there.
They understand that the other person needs this moment, and I think we realize that too. We even talk about it like, "No, no, no, no. This isn't for you. This is for me right now."
This is for me.
Uh-huh.
I am being gracious in sharing this moment with
Uh-huh.
you.
That's why I
Uh-huh.
said it is must be you are so lucky because I am hilarious.
You're so
So,
welcome. I think it's a
uh
marriage.
uh-huh, like, step it up. I wish you were as funny as me. What does it feel like?
The way I know we both have those moments with each other at
Mhm.
times, far and few between. But we don't always catch the other's jokes. It's fine.
Right? You'll be like, "What?" But just, like, to find somebody that knows your references or, like, can just laugh with you at stupid shit, it's just worth it.
And this point, they just like this is like the closest probable representation of us Tucciship as far as if we're looking at it from like a living scenario.
Mhm.
This is one of the few where they're not with each other literally 24/7. They are, but they
On
have their
camera,
separate
but you do know
places.
that they have their lives. It's just boring to watch her, like, wipe down the gym benches.
Not all well, when we get the moments of them in their apartments, usually it is spent very like us a lot of times where we're just chilling, but we're talking to each other. And
Mhm.
again, even if we're in the same city, we're hanging out, we're having a day together. Oh, we're gonna go home, shower, freshen up, and then I'll probably call you in a few hours, and we're just gonna like chat for a bit, talk about what we did.
A bit.
A bit, yeah. My 15, you're 45.
Ugh.
We'll chat for a bit. So it is. I like seeing this dynamic at least compared to a lot of the other Tucci ships. We've seen a couple in this regard. Lucy and Ethel, they did not live together; they just lived close by, and so that's kind of how I see these gals. But very different types of
Oh,
Tucci
yeah, yeah,
ships
yeah.
if we're looking at the in that regard in any way. So I do appreciate the way that we can kind of because we do like to relate ourselves to these Tucci's, of course. That's like what we like to do here. This one makes it a little bit easier, I think, because it really is more of a situational thing of what are we doing when we get out of the house? The amount of times we've just stumbled across the random the those without homes and thank God we just don't get the interactions. And again, for the show, some of them are a little more elevated. But TV has at times made me curious as to like what is going to happen? Like what am I going to have to like figure out how to navigate? It's just it is interesting. I don't it's not I don't really know where I was going with that point and I kind of lost it.
Well, you wanna talk about, like, we do relate these back to ourselves, but once I thought I had an out of body experience. Well, it wasn't like an out of body experience, but it was. It has it's one of those things where
Okay.
it has everything to do with it and nothing to do with it right now.
We like it. Go ahead.
So, once I was at the pool because we lived in, condos, we were at the pool,
Mhm.
and you wanna talk about the city being character. So, I'm sitting in my little just having my little situationship with myself,
Sure.
and the city was like, "Oh, time to introduce a new character." So there was this guy, he was like, "Oh, hey, like, how's it going?" And I was like, "Cause I don't do small talk like that." I was like, "Hi."
What type of guy is this? Wait, how old are you in this moment?
I was in my 20s. This was not a sexual thing at all. This
No, no,
wasn't
no.
a
I'm not
cruisy
even
thing. This wasn't like
I wasn't thinking that. Just like
uh-uh. Like,
is
this
he is he
no.
oh. So okay.
That's why I said this is not like a cruisy thing or anything. So
I
I'm just
definitely didn't
chilling
think
in
it
the
was
hot
that, but like
tub.
at least there could have been a base level and there's not a base level. So okay.
Uh-huh, yeah,
Go
no,
ahead.
this was literally like, you
I don't
have to have some reason to be talking to me.
I don't like this. Go ahead.
Uh-huh, so I was just, "Hi," and then, like, ended up finding out, like, he just moved into the condo, and, whoop, 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 and, uh, didn't have any connections in town yet, and I said, "Oh, okay, well,
Go
I have
figure.
a steady connection. Let
Uh-huh.
me get you some things." He was like, "Okay, great, because I haven't been able to sleep recently." I was like, "Alright, well,
Understood.
let's see what we can do."
Sure.
So, I am now a middleman.
I hate I
Mhm.
have thoughts.
So we go over to his house to get the cash, and he opens up the door, and Abbi Jacobson is in the house, and I go, "This is where the out-of-body experience happened," 'cause I go and he was like, "Yeah, this is my wife." It it was not Abbi Jacobson, but, like, I wasn't imagining it was literal like, I have never seen a doppelganger before in real life. Like, you know how people find each other and, like, they take the pictures, like, you see them that way, but, like, I have never been like, sometimes
Like
people be like,
double,
"Oh, you look
triple
like so and
take.
so," like, you know, when I Let It Go, I look like McLovin. So, like, obviously, I don't look like him, but resemble features.
There are some.
This was no, this is Abby right in front of me. Same stature, same hair, same face, same everything. This was Abby, and I go, "Oh my god." Because especially I was watching the show at the time, and I was like, "Oh my god, you look like that girl from Broad City." And he goes, without missing a beat, he goes, "Yeah, I know. You can take a picture of her if you want." "This is not Ripley's Believe It or Not, sir. This is your wife." And she goes, "Hi." Like, "Yeah, I get that a lot." Like, "Yeah." Like, I didn't take the picture. I wish I took the picture.
So the missed opportunity on their part because that sentence should have been, "Yeah, we know we get that a lot. We're welcome to do a photo for $5."
Uh-huh, or like, "Yeah, I know. I'm very booked for all of these Broad City parties."
Bless.
Yeah, like,
Uh-huh.
my mind was blow like, and you know I misidentify celebrities. There was
Well,
no mistaking who this person was in front of me.
she was the inspiration for Abbi Jacobson.
I said, like, it was a brain melt. Like,
Like
I felt like
style
I
and
was
everything.
Abby meeting this person.
Like, did it seem like she was trying to do it also, like style and everything?
Oh, no.
It
This
just
there's
it just
this
was what it
girl
was.
on TikTok who like, Taylor Swift, God love her, she's very basic when I say this, when you do she's very basic, you know what I mean?
Okay, yeah,
All you
sure.
see is
I
just,
hear
like, the
you.
blonde hair, like, the fair skin, the red lip,
Mhm.
maybe some, like, some of this area, and that's
Okay,
it.
sure.
There's this girl who had that, okay? When you do this, okay, she kinda looks like Taylor Swift. Apparently, she, like, got veneers and, like, oops, purposely looks like Taylor Swift,
Okay.
and then when people go, "Oh my god, Taylor," she goes, "Oh, no, I'm not Taylor. Stop, you guys. Stop. No, I'm not Taylor, you guys. Red, red." Like, it's it was not like that. She literally had a bag of trash in her hand. Like, I picture it, she was just in the kitchen like, "Oh, hey, yeah, like, yeah, I'm Abby." It was wild.
Yeah. That's just I get that a lot. Sure. Yeah.
So, like
Good
I
for
said, everything
her.
to do with it, nothing to do with it. The city was a character. The city was like, "We gonna fuck your mind today."
We letting you know. Were you were in Cali?
What?
You were still in Cali.
Mhm.
Okay.
Cali. That's how you can tell the person is not from California,
Yeah.
is when they say Cali, not Cali,
But you gotta
not
think, not even
Cali.
from the West Coast. I don't care. You knew what I was talking about.
Mhm, yeah, yeah, yeah.
California is so many syllables. Are you joking me? The amount of time I can save?
So,
Anyway,
oh, but yeah, it was wild.
I don't think I've seen a lot of people who I thought looked like other people, but not in like that type of like,
Oh,
oh,
just
this
the
is a doppelganger scenario that's like throwing it. That's a lot. Robin. Oh, Robin.
that's why I said, like, my mind was melted, but then for him to go, like, "You can take a picture of her if you want." That's sir, that's sir.
Just just passing her out. Just passing her around here. Photos? Photos, anyone? Photos? Not even making a
What the
dollar.
but that's how crazy it was, though.
That
'Cause he
is
was like, "Yeah, we get that all the time."
they
Like, 'cause you know people are just
at least they're leaning into it. They're buying it. Good for
it is
them.
wild.
That is.
Robin,
That
like,
is.
and that was years ago. To this day, like, I can still see it. I can still see it. It is crazy. So, like, love you to death. Not even if I saw you in person in Gagagish would I be like, "Stephanie?" This was
It
then
was it.
out of all the random like, why would somebody, like, be like, "Oh, yeah, like, own it." Like, you know what I mean? I guess
Oh,
everybody
yeah.
likes to have a niche, but, like, at the time, like, even though she was on the rise, like, I would say, like, Abby is still, like, C, B list. So to be like, "Oh, yeah, we gonna rock this, girl."
I get what you can get.
Uh-huh,
Absolutely. It's
but
still
it was
notable.
crazy. She was just, like, in, like, a little green
And I
jacket,
feel
just
like you
like, "Hey, I'm
have
about to take out
to.
this trash."
You have to. At some point, you don't, especially when it's said enough, you don't get a choice. That was me with when Miss Stefania. It
Mhm.
just kept being said. And so, no. Am I a twin, a doppelganger? No. Do I share some similar features and abilities and
Height.
have some height, weight in some capacities at some times of my life? Like, we can be similar. And then, a little skill of artistry with being able to reshape some things, and boom, there you go.
Mhm.
But she was booked and blessed. We surely leaned into it.
It's like a like, a Mario Party where you have to trace the shape with a little jackhammer?
Yes.
No matter how perfect you'll get, like, the most you can only get is, like, 98%.
Oh, sure.
Like, that's you. She was
I was
like
probably like 96, 95.
she was like, 102.
Damn.
Like, she was more perfect than the picture.
She was the blueprint.
It was
It all started here. She was it, and then Abby was the NPC.
I couldn't believe it.
That's crazy.
I still don't believe it, apparently. I still have some things to work through.
All right. Well, daydreamer. This was your younger years where you being influenced in any capacity. That could,
Still
yeah,
wish I took that picture, though.
you should have. That'd be your proof. There you go. And then over time, she's just going to slowly fade away from the photo.
She just morphs into somebody else in
You
my
know,
mind.
you know who she morphs into.
Who? Abby Lee Miller?
No, I was gonna say. See, now I can't even think of who it is because I'm gonna get it wrong, and then you're still gonna know who I'm talking about. But you loved her in Tarzan.
Don't say Judy Greer. That's why I said,
Thank you, thank
it's
you so
Leslie
much.
Mann was in Tarzan, but I mistook Judy Greer to her face for Leslie Mann.
To her
To her
face,
face.
to her face, and then gave it no chance to correct. You just said, "Oh, I loved you in that."
Just
Just left.
that's
Just left.
but let's ask the audience, but that is the business of Comic-Con. Once
Oh
I
well,
wanted to spend more than 8 seconds in front of a person, I have no choice because it's very
you kind of get what you get. I
Mhm.
would love to just have seen her. I would love to have been the person in line behind you.
I told you, there's, like, that book that she wrote. I'm scared to read it in case
Can I screen it for you? I want to. I'm gonna screen it,
oh my
and then if
goodness.
it is in there, I'm gonna be like, I'm just gonna like copy and
Because
paste it and send it to you.
and the only reason why I say that is because I was I saw that TikTok live when people called the sheriff's department to do a wellness check for Britney Spears, and Britney Spears mentioned those people in her book.
She
So I
did.
know that little things not that that was a little thing, but I know, like, random things like that can end up in these stories, or I could just be grouped into, like, yeah, I go to Comic Con so people don't know who I am. Because I think the book is, like the title's, like, "You don't know what you know me from," or something like that, like, it's very, like,
The whole book is
villains.
about your interaction with her.
Uh-huh, it's very, like, "Oh, yeah, you know my face, but you don't know my
You
name."
don't know where you know me from.
Uh-huh.
Dang.
It's something like that, but that's why I'm
That
like,
idea is brilliant. I
it's
love
a
that.
it's a footnote.
You get a whole chapter, bitch. The anonymous boy with blue hair.
No, I didn't. I was dressed up as Dipper
They were gonna.
Paynes. That's what
Notable.
made it look even worse because I look an idiot, and she's giving me the compliment saying I have nice eyes, and I just completely throw it back in her face with, "Oh, I think you're somebody completely else, and I enjoy their body of work more than the one you're presenting."
Just shitting on those walls. My God.
And the ceiling, Ray.
And the floor.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of shitting, speaking of Broad City, we can bring it back for a moment. I was thinking about it a little. As coming across some research, of course, there's the whole moment the every time it comes up I forget about until it happens and I see it is Abby's blue dress. The dress. The dress that's used for everything. And I was thinking about it particularly again today as I was flipping through the wardrobe and was basically just like, all right, what black t-shirt am I wearing today? Like your choices are black or black. And then we got Abby with this little blue dress. That's the one. That's the one you wear for everything, no
Oh yeah,
matter
she was
what
getting
you
that money
try. That's the fail
worth.
safe. Oh, she was caught up.
She said, "Oh, $500. Oh, we're gonna wear this dress tonight."
And then she never took it back. Did she take it back? I forget if she took it
I think
back.
she tried. I think she like in the actual episode, if I remember correctly, or if my mind is just trying to write this for it, but I think she got something on it and couldn't take it back.
I was thinking she tried to take it back and it was like day 31.
Or like somebody was like, what was I watching where somebody was gonna wear it, had the tags on it, and then some bitch was like, "Oh, you left the tags on," and then she was stuck with it.
I know what you're talking about, and I don't know if it's Broad City or if it is something else. I don't think it's
Mhm.
Broad
That's
City
why I'm
though.
saying, like, I don't know if my mind is writing it because there's different scenarios with where this could have gone and has gone.
I know that scene though, absolutely.
Mhm.
But do you have like other than like a suit, right? Like usually people have a suit, and we're not the ones. It's not for the you and the I's and the me and the my sisters. I know this. But do you have your like go to like piece that you wear? Like your one something where like whether it's an event or maybe it's like uh, uh maybe a family thing or it's a work thing. Not that it maybe it's somebody else's work, like whatever it could be.
I'm just sitting here with my employee of the month party for myself.
All those images behind you are just all of the repeated employee of the
Oh,
month,
right.
and they're
Yeah.
all different illustrations of yourself.
Mhm.
Yes. Um, do you have a little blue dress?
I don't think so, and I think I did, and it used to be funny enough, the vest I wore in the burlesque episode,
Uh huh.
that used to be my blue dress, but, like, years ago.
When the
Like,
vest was really do it.
years ago, like, we did we did we did the vest, we did it with the tie and, like,
Uh huh.
the rolled up,
Uh huh.
looking like Pete and Codtail,
Uh
we did with
huh.
the with the with the scarves and the tassels when it like, what was that,
Oh,
like, 2011?
I was thinking a good
Uh,
decade ago.
but,
Yeah,
yeah, just the vest has gotten some mileage.
we love that. We love that. I I used to rock a vest. I did the vest moment. It was my little like part emo phase where it was like the vest and the layers and then maybe sometimes a little accessory tie, but it was always the skinny jeans. And then the everyday struggle for me was, is this a chunky shoe day or is this like a Converse day? You know,
Oh, the
like
Converse, oh my god.
all the time. I still
And
got
what's a
two
chunky shoe,
pair.
like a Doc Marten or Birkenstock?
Oh no, it was like the chunky van skater shoes.
Oh, okay.
Like the little punk alternative
Or
slap
like,
fashion.
those skater shoes where, like, your toe looked really stubby, like, the toe box was really small,
I feel like that was most of them.
like, it was like a DC, or
Yes. I may have
there's
had
a
a
few
pair.
other ones
I may have
where,
had a
like,
pair.
that fat tongue,
Yeah.
and then, like, the little toe box, and then it was kinda like a high top.
And they were just like they were so like bulky, so it made the foot look
Mhm.
round and almost very Mickey Mouse, just a little cartoony,
Uh-huh.
especially because they always wore skinny jeans. So it was just like, boom,
Mm. Oh, yeah, the jeans went into the shoe.
which were already snug. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Inserted.
Layers, layers. I don't know if I have a little blue dress today. Not like the one. I have a few pieces reserved for if I have those moments where if it is a type of event. And so like maybe it's a certain like button up, which I hate wearing a button up, so it's rarely that. But like I have a couple cute little more like casual blousey tops, or maybe it's just like a nice little jacket. But
I do
it's
like the
not like the
necklace
one
these
thing.
days.
Yes.
To, like, accessorize, like, if we're gonna jazz up something, I like a necklace, because I
Mhm,
realize not
mhm.
everything has to be, like, a chain. You know what I mean?
Yes, but what is
Like, not
what is your
everything needs to
replacement?
be on it.
What do you mean?
Hmm?
What'd you say?
What'd you call me?
Jizz?
No, just like maybe just like
Excuse me.
something like a little higher or like a pearl something, a bead something. My favorite jewelry is like if it looks like a 10-year-old arts and crafts thing. So I love like a loop bracelet. I love like a like
I
a
do know I've got a little collection
like a
of
bead.
things.
Yes, like a
Uh-huh.
fat bead,
Of
plastic beads,
course.
star beads, heart beads. Mhm.
Shapes, design, decor. Ooh.
Um, like when Valentine's comes around, I like to get the heart-shaped glasses.
Oh
Love
yeah.
those.
I have a
Mhm.
few pairs that the Good Tucci has sent over, of
Mhm.
course,
I love the fun shapes and
with some
stuff.
glitter. Yes. See, that's it. See, we're too accessorized based.
Mhm.
We want a
As
cute.
I'm just chilling in my grayness. But yeah, no,
This
I
is
love the matching necklace we have where it's just like the all the fun beads and
uh,
things.
the Tucci
Mhm.
necklaces, the Tucci bracelets that we have,
Yeah.
so that when we do the parties and we have our nights out and we're just shopping about, we
Yeah,
can
that's
just
my
be
judge.
gay.
What is that, like kid core?
That sounds about right for you. That tracks. As you're wearing your child's extra large.
Oh,
You
don't come
know,
for me.
I compliments to the chef. I don't know what that means.
I don't know, but I love a Tyrannosaurus.
I like some geometrical shapage going on. I like the some linear graphical things.
Oh, that's fun.
No.
So there is one thing about their friendship that like sticks out to me, and that's like the reaction towards the end when Abby kind of finds out that her life is changing and she's moving. And one, she kind of like doesn't include Alana in the process. And two, like is nervous to break the news. And three, Alana's reaction. So like I understand, but also like I don't think we've ever had that problem because what they're scared of is what our parameters we've always had to work in.
That's where we started.
Uh-huh, so, like, we don't know what it's like to, like, be living together all the time and, like or, like, in the same city and then, like, joining up all the time and then breaking up apart, and
And
it's
it
just,
really
like,
was like
the
a
video call
breakup.
because it's just the video calls.
Uh-huh. It really it was such a big that whole like storyline is probably the most dramatic thing that happens throughout the entire like seasons of the show. And I love it because at least we get a good solid resolution to the story for once. Like we
Mhm.
appreciate that. And still, and we'll touch on this more, but I don't think by any means this Tucci ship ends there, of course. Like it
Oh,
is
yeah,
too
yeah.
much for it to. However, it was so much her building it up to tell her, her reaction to it, the whole which we love as a little surprise party, but that whole moment and then her just you gotta go, you gotta go, you gotta go. This is me, my sis, my times, and me and my best friend, and this is blah blah blah. And then the actual send off, they had a dinner plan,
And
and
to
she
the
said no to
bridge
that. The bridge, the toilet, the every
where she was like, "No, no, this is how I want it to be remembered." "Oh, okay, so it's just about you then. Alright, bye. So I'm
hello.
only here for you. Alright."
That's a lot to unpack. I also don't think like if we have like a big news to break to like nothing is really ever that shocking to either of us. And again, we started with different parameters, but if I was telling you something even remotely along the same lines, it'd just be like immediate. Like, I'm not worried about telling you. I'm not drumming it up and making a big deal of like, I got some news. And you'll be like, what? And then I'm going to tell you, and then we're going to be excited about it. And then boom, bam, done.
Well, even put it in this instance, "Alright, I'm moving cross state." "Alright, so you're moving again." Like,
Here we go again.
yeah,
All
"Alright, so
right.
you're doing it again." That like, you took, like, 3 steps forward, time to take 2 steps back, like, that would probably be my response, and then it's just, "Well, what's
Well, we,
happening?" I wouldn't have this breakdown and start smashing candy jars.
in a way, we've already had this because I didn't move to your state, but I
Mhm.
moved to your
Cali,
coast, Cali.
Cali.
It's just,
You're
besides
not a
California,
Cali resident right now?
I'm not. See, when I move, I will officially, I'll start saying California. Until
You could say
then,
SoCal or something, or NorCal, Central California, the
NorCal sounds
coast,
gross. And I kind of know that it's
the
not.
valley.
Oh, the valley.
Well,
Anyway,
there's valley girls and then there's the valley. There's San Fernando Valley, and then there's the Valley.
And they're not the same.
No,
See, there you go. So Valley girls are from.
San Fernando Valley.
Okay.
And then the Valley is like Fresno. It's very like agriculture. It's where a lot of our produce is produced.
I'm more familiar with that area. I've seen
Mhm.
her a time or two. Yeah. See, there we go. Learning opportunities with D-Money. There we go.
Also, I'm probably not the best for geography.
Well, I mean, you've only been over half of it and lived in most of it.
I don't
The
know what I could
territories.
think about.
When do we ever? That's the magic of friendship.
But I don't think it would be much of a difference if you ended up moving
But when I
like to
moved,
another state. Obviously, with the regard of like moved here, but like,
well, that changes everything. But
uh-huh,
when I
but like
did
if you were to
move
be like, oh, I'm
from,
changing states,
I
okay.
moved from the
Oh, what's the
East
time
Coast
zone?
to the West Coast, and it was just, all right, well, now we're that much closer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the only thing was just like, oh, well, are we closer or are we further? That's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the time zone so I know when to call your ass?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. But it's not, yeah, I don't. And then the drama on the bridge. Like, my goodness. It's too perfect. She really would have jumped off that bridge. If Abby said yes, she really would have done it.
Just said, all right, give me a boost.
So who's going first? Three, two, one, same time, let's go.
See, also too, like it's hard for me to relate to any of that because yes, while I've had Tucchiships, I've never had something where it's like I don't know, maybe because I was the one moving. I don't know. It's never been where I've felt the need to throw myself off a bridge.
For no one. No,
Mhm. And I know they keep
absolutely
making the
not.
joke of like, "Oh, you're my only friend, like you're my only friend and everything," but it's like, you're my only friend, and that doesn't mean I'm not friendly with other people to like carry me through. You know what I mean?
But we also say that that's like, that's the best friend. But you both have social circles, and it's going to be different for Abby because she's in a different state. She really knows nobody. But she made a friend and she made more friends. She will continue to make friends. And in the meantime, we have FaceTime, we have Skype, we have texting, we have all of the ways
Mhm.
for you to stay connected. So, like, go calm down. You're only making it worse, other than just being excited for, like, oh, well, now we get to figure out, like, what's new for us and, like, how we do this. And now I get to come see you. And now it's like a whole thing. And, like,
Yeah, it's opportunity.
make it a fun thing.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it
Support the
was not that. It
Tucci.
was too drama. It took away from the fact that like your friend is leaving.
And she's confiding in you and she's letting you know that she's terrified and scared about it because of these reasons. And then you flip it, turn it on yourself. And you're just like, well, I can't have dinner tonight. I can't have that moment. This is just too perfect. Well, that's just rude.
Mhm.
We're going to have dinner and wine and make it a big moment. I
The whole
would be.
bottle.
I would be mad at you if I was, say we lived in the same town and then I was moving out of state. And so we're like celebrating me leaving. And then you're just like, no,
Mhm.
I can't do dinner. It's too much for me. I don't care what you're going through. You better be at the table at 6:30 p.m. when the appetizers are served
Mhm.
and the glasses are clinking. Thank you so much. Tucci.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, I'd been a
that
little upset
wasn't
about
cute. It
that.
wasn't cool.
Not at all. But compared to most, we get there our little Tucci ending here. Do you think we could revisit a Broad City world?
Probably not.
It's very much just because you could doesn't mean you should. We
Not in
resolved
today's
it.
thing just because like I feel like the comedy was again like we talked about like oh you need a friend to understand it and I don't think I was that friend to understand it. And so I don't know if that comedy would translate again to the today and also to like the new things that their characters would be facing. I don't know how to make that funny because that was one thing was like their stuff is really based in what's happening today. Like
Yes.
they were two girls living in New York City, but it wasn't like two girls living in the world of Friends in their New York City. Because like, what's Monica's, like, loft valued at? Well, it was, like, 2,000,000 or something? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
So for them to, like, be living in, like, that and only working at a coffee shop or whatever, like, that was unrealistic.
Make
This
it
was
make
realistic. So,
sense.
like, what's gonna be happening? Are they gonna be struggling on the job market? Are they gonna be struggling with the housing crisis? Are they gonna be struggling with activism and, like, rights for people? Like, what
Like
are we
many
gonna be trying
things
to make light of?
like many things, it would maybe become a little too political if it were
Yeah,
revisited.
because I could see the Lana showing up somewhere, getting in a fight with somebody, and, like, well, I can see that on the news.
100%. No, absolutely. And that would take away from the fact that I'm watching programs like this, the program, for some
Oh, mhm,
escapism and for the lighthearted comedy. And I don't want to see the same thing that is going on outside the window, even if it's made funny. Because right
mhm.
now it's not funny to me. So
Just
yeah, I don't think it could be revisited now as it was for some escapism, and you can just deal with some cringiness because
but this was
it
also a
happens.
series that, like, had the luxury of knowing their time was coming to an end, so they got to write out an ending.
Very
Not every
true.
show gets that. It's literally like, "Oh, we didn't get picked up this season. Alright, bye. Well, whatever you got, you got." This was like, "Alright, we can actually close this off," and I feel like they put it in a bow, like, they had their quick little cameos to tie the loose ends, and, like, that was it. Like, we don't need more. Like, obviously, we appreciate the content that they put out, like, Alana still does her stand-up and everything, but it's just
Absolutely.
I would rather, like, receive that sort of content than, like, have some played out story continue on.
And I think they have that magical thing, like you said, with Alana still doing comedy. Like again, I one reason I liked the show is because I liked the creators of. I liked
Oh, yeah,
Abby
yeah,
and
yeah.
Ilana.
It was so
They're
heavily handed,
hysterical,
them.
and it is such a representation of them and their comedy and how they see things and like whatever. So they kind of have that magical thing that a lot of again comedy duos get, where it just works together, and the
Mhm.
way that you do and can like and tell things and perform things like it just kind of creates this new form of magic. So I would any day be down for other projects they do. I watch them on the talk shows. I'll just watch their little clips of things because they're hilarious. Their specials, any of those things. Love that. But I couldn't do a Broad City revisit. I would love for them to even just produce another something. Just like a
Oh,
good
yeah, yeah,
comedy
yeah.
something today, just to see what's in their minds lately. Them as a duo, I think that would be incredible, whether they're in it or not.
I think something
I
like
would be down for that.
adult animation would be fun from them. Like a BoJack Horseman type something.
Oh, I love this.
Mhm.
And absolutely, they're voicing a few characters.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is beautiful. Okay. I'm all about this. I'm checking into this
So
idea.
who's who? I already know.
Go ahead.
I would say I'm the Abby.
Elaborate on this.
Well, also, like, one of the things that I noticed a lot about us was, um, like, when one would Abby was older than Alana, so when, like, Alana was stressing out was she, like, turning 23 or something? Abby was like, "Oh, that's when I met you." Like, she was able to, like, relate it back to, like, "Oh, I went through this, and this is what's happening," or, like and that continues on through the seasons, through their friendship, like, even as she gets older. I think, like, they get up to, like, 30, and she's like, "Oh, I'm going through 30." But,
Yep.
like, they were able to do it together, and one had already done it before, so it was like I feel like that's with us sometimes. Not on everything, but, like, that dynamic is definitely there and hasn't really been there with the other friends.
We have talked about
The
the approach of 30 often, you and I,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
because that is an experience you have had and that I am approaching. And so, like, we just have chatted about the way things feel and the way I see some things differently. And that's always fun. It is nice to be in that way, the Alana that does have someone that's like, I can talk to that I know has been there, done it, is related to it. Like you're not, thankfully, not the only friend I have that way either. So I get a lot of points of view and perspective. So like I see that in that way.
Mhm.
As I was recapping the show, I was looking at this in a lot of different formats as to who is who, because it really depends how you want to break that down. As an
Oh,
in
yeah, yeah.
general, it is so tough. If it's an age thing, done. If it's a fashion thing, probably done. If it's
Oh,
a
yeah, yeah.
reactionary thing, done. But they're so. I was pegging you as more of the Alana,
Mhm.
but I get your side.
Yeah.
Yeah. So fun.
Well, if you wanna talk about the yeah, that's the Abby, but when you that's the Alana. You know what
there
I
we go.
mean?
That's the way to put it. Uh-huh.
Once you get a real good once you flip it over, see the price tag still on it, even though it's been on the shelf for 15 years, that's when you see the Ilana.
T. That's it right there.
Mhm.
That. So, well, I guess in that regard, I'm just gonna take the Abby, and we'll just yep.
Tuccis.
It is in the way a lot. I see myself in her personality in some ways as well. But again, same with Ilana.
Mhm.
But not enough with Ilana because that bitch is crazy.
It's
And all the best ways.
a lot. I we know Ilana,
We
but
know
I
Ilana.
don't think that either one of us are like 100% Ilana. We would both be the Abby. And like again, like it's not a I don't want to say that like as like a bad thing, but like usually like again, Abby's the straight man and Alana's like the humorous one. And usually like there's there's the two, but this time I feel like it's just Abby for both of
It's
us.
just Abby. I
Mhm.
think it was probably, I can only remember one time in my life I ever had the closest to an Ilana moment. And it's when I was in the gigs in the quiches and being the baby little drag queens getting started. And I fully got into a screaming match with this other queen backstage because she was having beef with a good friend of mine, and then she tried to like be shady with me, some other thing, just making scenes in the back and the back dressing room. And so we started yelling, and we didn't realize that there weren't that many doors between us and the rest of that place, so everybody could hear what was going on back, not verbatim. But that was probably the only time I was like, "Oh, I made a fool of myself. I won't be doing that again. Thank you so much."
Thank you so
It
much.
took the one and only
I think I was
time.
probably Alana like baby gay years.
E- exactly,
'Cause
exactly.
you you have like a lot to prove, but also to like you just want to have fun.
Mm-hmm. You feel free,
Uh-huh,
like
and
you could just
I
do
feel like
whatever.
I lost some of that, so maybe if I had more of it, I'd maybe be relating to Alana, but as of right now, like, yeah, we feel very happy. We feel very, like, reserved and, like, "What do you mean I just spent $500 on a dress?"
Me with some recent purchases of mine. I'm just like, are you
Uh-huh.
joking? You're
So,
joking,
yeah,
right?
very that.
Okay. So I think we did touch on it before, but I think it is quite obvious the level Tucciship that we're dealing with here. Unless some major life crisis event happens here, there's no reason this is not a lifetime Tucciship.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They're
This
too
is all we saw,
intertwined.
but it continues.
They had a breakup, and it really was like a breakup the way they were handling that. Let me tell. Oh my goodness. I get
It's
it.
a messy
Emotions were
one.
high, but it's a lifetime Tucciship. There's no way it
Mhm.
can't be. I would love to see, a fan. Maybe it's just like a little short they do one day that's just like Abiel and Alana from Broad City in like 50 years, just like a little glimpse into their future and what they're like as little old
I'd be happy
Broad.
with a panel at, like, the 15th anniversary, and somebody asks the question, "Where do you see them now?" And they answer it, and we go, "Oh, yeah, I see that for them.
I just
Okay,
want it to be
cool."
like one of those anniversary videos where it's literally just like 3 to 5 minutes. It's just
Uh-huh.
like a little revisit, a little special, a little nod, and thank you so much.
Not behind the music.
Exactly that. Why not?
Mhm.
We like a sneaky peeky. They were given the sneaks peeks with Broad City. They had their whole things, letting the people know they're behind the scenes. You know, I love that. I live for that shit. I like to get
Mhm.
into how the stories are being made, how they're doing it. I live for it. Beautiful. Broad
Oh,
City.
well.
Broad
Well,
City.
in that case, thank you for listening on your favorite podcatcher and watching on YouTube.
As always, you could follow along with more of the antics on TikTok and Instagram at Good Tuccis.
And be sure to check out our Linktree for access to our Discord community and additional content.
Ooh,
So
ah.
until next time, bye,
Bye,
Tucci's.
Tuccis. Meow.